Welcome back to Wine Time Mysteries, where true crime and the unexplained collide. I'm Ashley, and I'll be your host for today's episode, joined by the wonderful Joey Voodoo, of course. And today we'll be diving into the chilling murders of the Longo family. How did a seemingly devoted husband and father commit one of the most shocking crimes of the early 2000s in a small town in Oregon? We will discuss and unravel the chilling details of Christian's betrayal and the tragic fate of his wife and 3 children. If you enjoy listening to true crime stories and tales that send shivers down your spine, subscribe, rate, and review us on your favourite podcast platform. Your support helps keep the show going and brings you more stories that challenge reality. Be sure to check out our links at linktree/Winetime Mysteries. Christian Longo was born on January 23rd, 1974 and grew up in a strict Jehovah's Witness household in Ypsilanti Township in Michigan, USA.
Say what? Ypsilanti?
Ypsilanti.
Escandalo.
Escandalo. Described as having a happy childhood, he was actively involved in his church and from a young age would participate in door-to-door ministry. Although there's not a lot to mention with his childhood, Christian felt pressure to live a successful life.
Well, I mean, he's also a Joho, right?
By 19, he would marry a woman by the name of Mary Jane Barker, whom he first met in the church parking lot. It said she was 7 years older than him as well, which
okay.
You know.
That sounded like I said ooh and I said oh, just so we are clear.
Christian unfortunately started keeping things from Mary Jane even before they married. You see, he began experiencing money problems.
I mean, who doesn't?
I know we're all there, Christian, but hey.
But also not.
Yeah. He seemed to have a problem that involved living outside of his means, and it started with the engagement ring he purchased on credit.
These people who want to be glorified, because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You want to buy something big and whatever. Oh, you could afford that for me. Oh, daddy. Like,
fancy.
Get a life.
Get a job. Get a life. There was one month that he was rather strapped for cash, and it came down to paying the ring repayment or paying rent. You know, which one? Kind of, do I pay for the missus' ring or for a roof over our head? Christian decided to steal instead of the job he was working at.
Sorry, hold on. Those two are not even connected. Does he pay for rent or does he pay for a ring? He steals.
Yeah, instead he's going to steal. Yeah, he stole from the job he was working at as a manager at a photo lab.
What
the
hell are you going to steal from a photo lab?
I think just money. Like, literally money from the till. So he decided to...
I was kind of like, what, he's stealing chemicals? But then also maybe they have do they sell cameras and stuff there too? Perhaps.
Yeah, because it would have been back in the old school days, come get your photo.
I remember those. You pay like $10, it'll be ready in an hour.
Oh, some of the things I take photos of and I'm like, I wonder what people think when they're like developing these.
Yeah.
Yes, dear children, if you are born, I don't even know what year that would be, maybe 2000.
It's literally too long ago to even remember.
There was a time that you would take photos.
On an analog camera.
Yeah, and you'd send it off to the little photo place and take about maybe a week, couple of days to develop, and then you'd get it sent, like go pick it up.
You'd get a call, you'd pop in and grab it. I remember this one time for Christmas when I was a kid, I don't know who, I got given like this really cheap, it was like a cheap like Kodak sort of camera. It was a refillable one, so it wasn't like a disposable one. And I got given film and I was so excited and I went around, I took photos of everything. I got Jamie to put on this ugly wig and pose with like a fake gun. Like we were doing all that kind of stuff. And then we went to get it developed and none of them turned out because of light exposure to the actual thing. Yes. I cried and I cried and I cried. And if they did not know at that point that I would grow up to be gay, that should have been a sign.
Oh, this little boy's very attached to his photos.
Back to you.
This was a pattern that seemed to continue with Christian, where he would continuously resort to theft or fraud, even at the expense of others, to maintain an image that he was successful.
And he was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Jehovah's Witnesses, but I'm pretty sure lying and stealing probably aren't really in their religion. At least not things that you want to do. So
Yeah.
that's interesting to me.
Some of his go-to items would be luxury vehicles that would often get repossessed due to missed repayments, high-end clothing so that he could present himself as successful, electronics such as cameras and other gadgets, rental properties that were just far beyond his means, gifts for his family and wife, and finally travel and leisure activities such as vacays. So let's just rack up that debt to
look like you're keeping up with the Joneses, but you're not.
You're not, mate. You're not. The way he would obtain these items would be through credit card fraud, check forgery. Taking it back.
Memories.
Memories.
Now, kids, a check is a piece of paper that was connected to your bank account that you could write out a sum of money to pay for certain products ahead of actually receiving them. When the business would actually go and cash it in, they would make sure that your check was going to clear, and then it would take the money out of your account. It was very old school. Checks were normally about 3 to 5 business days. You could write faulty checks all the time.
Yeah, it was a big
It was a
thing.
big thing. I never had a checkings account where I could do that.
No.
If I did, I probably would have.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just being real. I wouldn't now. I wouldn't now. But as a kid, I'd probably be like, free money.
Oh, yeah, as a kid, you'd be, yeah. And finally, of course, you've got to add in embezzlement.
Well, I'm surprised we're only adding that in now.
Yeah. That's just the last little, little piece of,
Shit.
yeah, on the cake. All of this would catch up to Christian, and as you said before, even his church found out, to which he would basically be kicked from the church.
He got excommunicated from the Johos.
They were like, see ya. No surprise, Christian would soon have a warrant out for his arrest that would lead him and his wife, Mary Jane, and their now 3 children, Zachary, Sadie, and Madison, to look at creating a fresh start or flee to a new state.
Gasp.
Although Mary Jane was unaware at what her husband was really up to and just how deep the fraud and deception and financial issues went, the family decided to move to Oregon in September 2001. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of questions about, like, why aren't we getting bank statements? Like, why is this and that happening? But I think he was just such a good manipulator that he just weaseled his way out of all of that kind of stuff.
Sounds about right.
And I mean, if you got 3 kids and they're all young ages of like 4, 3, and 2, so you're kind of not really focused on funds that your husband is kind of,
Wait, so how did he flee? So he went interstate? Is that what he did to flee? Because you can't be traced interstate.
Yeah, so it's just, I think they were getting a lot of creditors coming to the door. They were just kind of getting hounded by everything. And he's like, let's just go start afresh, start a new life.
Let's run away.
Before renting a modest home compared to what Christian was previously used to, the family stayed in a motel in Oregon.
Ooh, Motel 6.
Motel life. Tension would start to rise and the lies would expand. Christian would take a low-paying job at Starbucks with no real serious attempts to find better employment.
Starbucks.
It was around this time that an affair would start up with a young co-worker from Starbucks. I didn't want to put her name in here because I was just like, she's young.
Yeah, she's not involved.
Yeah, so I was just like, I'm just going to leave her out. You see, Christian had actually presented himself as a single man and now decided to keep his wife and children a secret. So add another layer of deception and detachment from his wife, more stress of financial issues, 3 young children, and a double life.
Yeah, right.
We jump to December 2001. On December 19th, 2001, a call was made to police after a man stumbled across a rather gruesome scene. It was the body of a small boy floating face down in the water near his lot.
Aww.
The boy would soon be identified as 4-year-old Zachary Longo.
Oh, no.
Only a few days later, the body of a small girl was found, weighed down with a rock in a pillowcase that was tied to her ankle. She would later be identified as 3-year-old Sadie. On December 27th, divers found 2 suitcases under a dock at a marina. One contained the body of 2-year-old Madison, and the other was the remains of Mary Jane. The community was absolutely horrified as details started to emerge as to what happened to this poor family.
I hate that. What I don't understand, because obviously, like, I don't think I've delved really into family annihilators and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not because it's normally someone within the family that's done it, right? Like, yeah, we had the Keddy murders, but that whole family died. But it's like, I don't understand why. Can't you just find a way to separate? Can't you, like, is that not a thing? Or people who kill their children or child, can you not just, like, the better option is to maybe give them up for adoption, put them into like a foster home or something. I know that's not the best environment for them, but they get to be alive and maybe one day contribute to society. You don't need to kill them.
Yeah, I think his words were actually, they went to a better place. Autopsies revealed that the 4 victims had died from strangulation, and Mary Jane also had blunt force trauma to her face. Police already had a suspect, and that was Christian Longo. He had a history of deceit, a crumbling marriage, mounting debts. All of that created a clear motive. Unfortunately, he was nowhere to be found.
Gasp.
The family's van was found abandoned at the Portland International Airport in Oregon, and several key pieces of evidence were found that would shed light on the horrific murders. In the vehicle, Mary Jane's ID and purse were found, children's toys and clothing, and the presence of blood. It also indicated that Christian had used the van in some form to either kill or transfer the bodies of his family before hastily fleeing the crime scene and taking or possibly taking a flight to evade capture. By December 28th, Christian was charged with the murders of his wife and children and was added immediately to the FBI's most wanted list.
No way, as if they would do that.
So glad they did. A profile was created where they stated that the now 27-year-old was charming and manipulative, and that others were warned that he could be blending into new communities by portraying himself as friendly. His profile was even shared on America's Most Wanted.
I remember that show.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it?
I think I only ever saw like snippets.
Because for us, it was on TV, but it was like a late night show. It's not one that, you know, kids would really watch anyway, but we loved it.
Yeah, a certain time it'd be on and then yeah. Given his crimes and the fact that he fled, this created widespread interest and outrage, of course. It wouldn't take investigators long to find out that he had travelled to Cancun, Mexico.
Cancun!
Of all the places to go, he's literally gone to a party zone in Mexico, using a false identity. There were multiple witness reports and surveillance footage. The FBI and Mexican authorities worked together to help track Christian down. His image was distributed everywhere, especially in the tourist hotspots, because he was kind of travelling alone, probably pretending to be a tourist. While in Mexico, Christian lived a carefree lifestyle.
Of course he did.
Hooking up with women, drinking, smoking pot, blending in with tourists and the locals, and he also assumed the identity of journalist Michael Finkel, a former New York Times reporter.
Michael Finkel.
A name he had taken purely from reading an article that Michael had published and was someone that he now admired. Apparently there's even a movie on it. There's a movie, forget the name of it.
Look, I don't doubt that for a second.
Where they kind of focus on this Michael Finkel and like what actually happened, how some random family annihilator just took his identity.
What identity would you use then? Because it sounds like he just found someone that he admired and is like, I'll just use that.
What would I use? I don't even know.
I'm gonna do Ariana Grande.
Yeah, like of all the people, like you couldn't just get a low profile, you had to go with a journalist.
Someone who is obviously well known.
Yeah, like maybe go low profile, not like a...
Yeah, like low hanging fruit, baby, not...
Yeah, someone from the New York Times.
Yeah, or if you're gonna go someone famous, go someone who's like not super famous but like old, like way back, like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Like
Elvis.
I am Elvis. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't really think that through, did he?
Nope.
He eventually moved from Cancun to, I'm going to say Tulum.
I think it's Tulum. That's still in Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
However you pronunciate that, if you live there, let us know. Why don't you let us know? That's a good way. How do you pronounce it?
Sí, por favor.
Yeah, what he said. This place was a smaller, less crowded beach town that had a relaxed atmosphere, which made it easier for him to blend in with the locals. Once again, he portrayed himself as a well-off American enjoying an extended vacation. Due to the high publicity of the case and the authorities working together, it wouldn't take long before he was noticed in this small town. On January 13th, 2002, an American tourist recognised Christian from one of the FBI posters and immediately reported him to authorities, and obviously he was shortly arrested. Witnesses reported that he appeared calm and composed during the arrest and offered no immediate explanation or resistance. He was extradited to the US, where he was charged with the murder of his family. The trial began on March 10th, 2003, and the prosecution sought the death penalty, arguing that the murders were premeditated and committed with extreme cruelty. Kind of annihilating your whole family and putting them into a river or suitcases and weighing them down.
In separate locations?
I think it was all kind of like in the one area.
And some of it floated out?
Because they were all... There was like dumbbells in one of the suitcases. Like he was trying to kind of weigh them down, and obviously it didn't work and they've just kind of floated.
Well, gas, am I right?
Christian initially pleaded not guilty to the charges. However, as the trial progressed, his defense team went for a new strategy.
No way.
So the new strategy was he claimed that he was guilty, but only for killing Mary Jane and Madison. He claimed that in a fit of rage, Mary Jane killed Zachary and Sadie.
That's literally what happened in Chris Watts' one.
Yep, the two older children. So he killed Mary Jane, and then out of pity, he killed his other child.
Ah?
Yeah.
Well, they're all gone, so out of pity, I'll kill you too, I guess.
Yeah.
That's messy.
Yeah. This was his way to try and partially blame Mary Jane, as well as avoiding the death penalty. So just to show he's even more a piece of poop, trying to blame the wife for killing the children, and then, I retaliated, so blah, blah, blah. The prosecution presented a case of premeditated murder, and the reason being that Christian killed his entire family to escape financial ruin and pursue a new life free from responsibility. His calculated disposal of the bodies were highlighted, his flight to Mexico, his narcissistic behaviour, and lack of guilt and remorse.
And lying. Lying kind of also paints a target on your own back.
Yeah, you've already shown that you're willing to go to extreme lengths to get what you want.
So it's kind of not unfathomable that you would wipe out your own family too.
Yeah. On April 16th, 2003, after 6 weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury found Christian Longo guilty on all counts of aggravated murder.
Of course they bloody did, and if they didn't, that would have been a travesty.
They rejected the defense argument that Mary Jane had killed 2 of the children and that the evidence was overwhelming in pointing to Christian being responsible for all 4 deaths. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection.
See ya.
Unfortunately, Christian still remains on Oregon's death row as no executions have taken place in the state since 1997.
Well, maybe not see ya after all. Not yet.
Not yet. He has made several appeals, all of which were not successful.
Of course.
Access denied. Kind of happens when you kill your whole family. Christian Longo is definitely someone who has narcissistic tendencies, lack of empathy, manipulative behaviour, all of which contributed to his actions before, during, and after the murder of his family. He was a pathological liar and a man who needed to be admired. Although no formal diagnoses have been publicly confirmed, experts have speculated that he potentially may suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and, of course, he's a psychopath.
He's a psycho, Roger.
Yeah. It is believed that his reason behind killing his family stemmed from the overwhelming financial pressure, and the only way he saw out of it and his failings was by killing his family. He had a desire for freedom, and rather than face the consequences of his actions, he chose to eliminate the people closest to him and reinvent himself.
Listen, I'm not shitting on people who work at Starbucks. I'm not. I'm really not. But if you wanted to escape, like, financial struggle, like, 1, stop putting yourself into further debt. 2, if you are capable of getting a job that has a higher like wage or salary or income altogether, then perhaps you should have gone there instead of being like lazy and just going for a job just because you wanted a job that probably was not that stressful.
Yeah, for me, I think it also kind of shows that's the point where he'd kind of made a decision. He'd kind of gone, well, stuff it. I'm not looking after my family anymore. He's already, he's
checked
gone
out at that point.
He's gone, just gotten a part-time job just to kind of get by, hooked up with someone there.
Do you think that move was a little bit more calculated? Do you think maybe he had gone in there to get a coffee before and seen the girl that he ended up dating, thinking that she was like hot because she's probably younger than him? Well, you said young, so she would be younger than him. Then his way to get close to her was to get a job and then to like somehow woo her.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And like by that point, he also has given up anyway. So it's like a 2-for-1.
Yeah, so instead of putting himself in more debt to actually help his family, he's just kind of gone stuff it. Still putting himself in debt, but only caring about himself and possibly gifting for his new girlfriend or, whoever he's with. This case has left lasting emotional scars on the victims' loved ones and raised chilling questions about the darkness behind domestic violence. Christian's fate is sealed with a death sentence, but the impact of his actions remain. Next time on Wine Time Mysteries, Joey will take us through the case of the 4chan killer. An online confession, cryptic posts, and a chilling crime that unfolded in real time. David Kallick's story blurred the lines between the digital world and a brutal reality, leaving a trail of questions and shock in its wake. Stay curious, stay alert, and remember, the person you share your bed with may not be who they seem. Until next time, stay safe and question everything. Sorry, I have to go.
Why?
My goldfish is hosting a TED Talk and I promised I'd attend.
Okay, well, bye.
Shit cake.
Shit cake. Ooh, cake farts.
Cake farts. Pot cakes? I don't want to be here anymore.
Same. Can we go together?
Yeah, let's go to Mars. Elon!
Elon, you great gonk. Let's go.
Let's go. More money.
More money. I want more money. I want more money. I got more money. Once upon a time, not long ago, I was a hoe. And I'm admitting it. I don't take it back because I did that shit. I was sorry.
Piece of crap. I tried to say poop and crap and
Croup.
Croup.